Valued and esteemed stakeholders, I want to come to you to give you an end-of-year message, thanking you for the valuable support that you've given Uganda Wildlife Authority over the last 1 year. We've been in a period of the COVID-19 pandemic, and the relationship we have built over the years has come in to show that indeed you are valued, you are esteemed, and we appreciate you very much. We know all of us have had challenges with COVID, and I want to thank you that you're still available to us despite going through the same challenges we've gone through. We continue to operate. We have enhanced our ability to deal with COVID in our headquarters and as well as our protected areas, and when you visit you realize that we are strong on the implementation of the standard operating procedures to ensure that there is no transmission of the COVID virus. We have continued to deal with wildlife crime, arresting poachers, providing information to our communities so that we work together to fight the illicit trade in wildlife products. And we would like to thank those agencies, especially that we've worked with, to give us this support: the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the Uganda Police, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, and the Judiciary. Together we've been able to do enormous work, arresting over 2,000 suspects, going through courts with several cases, 230 of which have been concluded, and of those concluded, we've had 207 convictions, meaning that we've had a success rate of 90%, and that couldn't have been possible if we didn't have partners to work with. We have also continued the work of sensitizing communities about wildlife conservation, and also enabling them to access resources in the protected areas. When there is access resources, whether firewood or water or medicinal plants, we value those items, and the value this year has been 2.5 billion Uganda shillings of resources communities have taken out of the protected areas. We have also been able to raise revenue sharing funds equivalent to 4.25 billion. This money we will give to the districts, and the money will be utilized for projects in parishes that neighbor our protected areas, and the communities themselves will be the people who will come up with the projects that they need to be implemented. In our sport hunting activities, we've raised 707 million Uganda shillings that again are going to communities for purposes of implementing community livelihood projects. We have been able to deal with human-wildlife conflict, and as the numbers of wildlife increase in our protected areas, the human-wildlife conflicts have also increased. Unfortunately, we are suffering from the success that we have in protecting the wildlife. But when these issues come, in places neighboring protected areas, we received close to 6,000 complaints and reports of human-wildlife conflicts, of which we were able to reach out 84%, because often by the time you resolve, some of them have already resolved on their own, so it's not possible to have 100%. And then away from protected areas in places like Kampala and Wakiso and others, we've received about 200 cases, and these ones we've been able to address 68% of them. In terms of infrastructure, because of the limited resources we have not been able to put a lot in infrastructure. but we've received resources from the Uganda Conservation Foundation. We have put up, and it's already operational, a joint operation command center in Marshall Falls, and then we are constructing another one in Queen Elizabeth. In these joint operation command centers, we will be putting 4 units together in one building to work together to ensure that we deal with illegal wildlife trade and illegal wildlife activities like poaching. We'll have intelligence there that picks up intelligence, delivers it to law enforcement that goes and undertakes an operation and makes an arrest if there is anybody to arrest, hands over the arrested person to investigation that carries out the investigation and prepares a case file for court, and then hands over to prosecution, which will then take this criminal to court for the necessary action. So the joint operation command centers that we are building are going to be extremely important in our fight against illegal wildlife trade and poaching. We continue receiving visitors. Despite COVID, you know that government allowed tourists to come into the country. We received 103,000 visitors, just under 30% of our normal tourism numbers in a year. This obviously because of COVID, but those who come continue to enjoy. We've noticed a substantial change in the numbers, in percentages, because now East Africans make the biggest amount with 61.4%, which is a fairly good thing, showing that East Africans, and this includes Ugandans, have started to appreciate the resources that they have. And then the foreign residents make 10%, and the foreign non-residents make 21.6%. The rest are students and VIPs and those in transit. Now, student numbers have gone down because obviously we don't have schools running, and therefore visitation from students has gone down. I would like now to appreciate government. The government of Uganda has been extremely helpful because, as you know, our revenues dropped to less than 20%, and we basically didn't have the resources to operate. Government has taken up with the paying of salaries of our staff since July 2021, and we appreciate them very much for the financial contribution that is enabling us to continue with our activities. And we look forward for continued support towards the implementation of our activities. At the same time, because of the way government handled COVID-19 with maturity, using the best available information, it has ensured that Uganda has remained open to visitors, and visitors are confident that when they come to Uganda they will not go back infected. And so the numbers of visitors is growing as we go along. I would also like to thank the various partners, and I am afraid I might not mention every one of them, but I want to mention various partners who have given us support in finances, in equipment, in all kinds of materials, food for rangers, and so on. They include the AWF, African Wildlife Foundation, they include Curriculum Africa, they include Jane Goodall Institute, FFI, United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, Space for Giants, Uganda Conservation Foundation, Michigan State University SNARE Initiative, African Elephant Fund, CITES, International Gorilla Conservation Program, WWF, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, United Nations Development Program, and the Ministry of Ecological Transition and Demographic Challenge of Spain. There are many, many others that I can't mention, both individuals and institutions that have been able to support. These partners have been with us shoulder to shoulder. They have supported us, they have given us advice, they've given us resources, and we want to sincerely appreciate them. And I do this appreciation on behalf of management staff and the Board of Trustees of Uganda Wildlife Authority. As we conclude this year, I would want to reiterate our commitment to the continued conservation of the wildlife in Uganda, and the continued commitment to ensure that our visitors get the best service they can receive in a secure environment in our protected areas. Our national parks and our reserves remain open. This festive season, please visit. If you miss out this festive season, feel free to come during the year, because there will be fewer people and you might even enjoy better. But nevertheless, this festive season, create time, visit our parks, visit our reserves, check out these beautiful places and the experience that is a beauty, which is the pearl of Africa. I want to, on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Uganda Wildlife Authority, on behalf of the management, on behalf of the staff, I want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2022.
Uganda Wildlife Authority, conserving for generations.